Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us here today at the Financial Freedom Summit. Our next speaker is Chris Williams. We're going to do an interview with him just so you guys can get to know his story, what he's about, where he started, where he is now, and how he got there. Chris, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience, the people, and let them know who you are, what you care about, and what you've been working on lately?
Yes, my name's Christopher Williams. I'm from a little city called Havana, Florida. Don't look for it on the map; you'll miss it. And far as what I've been working on lately is I got trying to get my second rental property, which I'm super excited about. Something that I want to kind of build upon slowly, though I'm not rushing it. Also my YouTube channel, Chris's Sports Corner, we're approaching that 10,000 subscriber mark, so I'm super excited about that. So if anyone likes sports, feel free. And also my the Sports Corner podcast is also something I'm working on presently. I'm working on my 5th degree, which would be my MBA. I think this is it for me. I'm not doing any more after that. And I'm a network engineer for DSCA. They keep changing the name of it, but it's DSCA now. So that's pretty much what I got going on.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think 5 degrees is plenty. That's good. That's a good number. So can we get started a little bit with your background? Tell us how you grew up, what your situation as a child was like, and how that kind of translated into who you are today.
All right, no problem. So I grew up in Havana, Florida. I come from my parents, even though they was loving parents, I never want to take that away from them. They just battled with alcohol addiction. So at the age of 3, it was the first time when I realized that I ain't gonna say I didn't realize it, but it was the first time when things really got rough for us because we got put out. I would end up staying inside of a like a tool shed. I guess you can call him my stepdad at the time. He would pay someone for just let us stay there. It was like $100 a week. He would pay them to let us stay there, but because of my mom's addiction, she would steal the money, literally, to the point where we got put out, but we would still sneak in at night. So we'll wait till like 12, sneak in, try to be back out by like 5 before the owners woke up. Now the thing with that though, one night we overslept.
Oh man.
Yeah, one night we overslept and we actually woke up to police flashlights on our face. And at that point, you
were 3 at
Yeah.
this point? Wow.
Yeah. And that went on for a while. But at the point when the police woke us up, that's the first time my situation started become alarming a little bit to me, because they was like going to take me from my mom. They were like, we gotta find somewhere the child can't live like this, which I understood. Police doing everything within their right, trying to take care of me. And actually the lady that owned the house said, well, he could stay here, the child can, they can't. But she said I could stay in that house if I wanted to. But that didn't work out. So they end up taking me to my dad, and that same day the police took me to my dad, dropped me off, said, hey, this your son? He was like, yeah. Like, well, can't he stay with you for a while and explain the situation? Well, what they did not do was actually check to see if my dad had a place that was feasible for a child to stay. Because at the time my dad didn't have any lights. It was just him and my uncle who's passed. They just stayed together. And they're old. Like I said, I'm from a small country town. Like, they stayed on it's like a tobacco farm. So condition what we would consider to be really harsh was normal to them. So at that point, like, they didn't have lights. They didn't have they would cook outside. They'll take a grill outside, make a fire, cook them something to eat real quick, go in before the sun come down, take a bath, like the little 5-gallon buckets, you put water in it, take a bath, wash up real quick. That was life. My dad didn't have, they didn't have real money or nothing like that. They just survived. And so I automatically got thrown into that life. I became accustomed to that. And I didn't think nothing was wrong. It was just normal. You were all right, just adapt and overcome until the school year started. And I had to go outside and go to the bus stop. And that's the first time it hit me that I wasn't like the rest of the kids. It's first day of school. Everybody got their best outfit, your best clothes, your best shoes. I got whatever dad found. Funny story. It wasn't funny then, but it's funny now. The shorts, Daisy Dukes. that girls wear. Well,
Yeah.
those I got picked on a lot because those are the type of shorts I would have on. So I'm at the bus stop when everybody got the latest Jordans or whatever cool at the time. You know, I'm out there with whatever my dad found and some of those on and whatever, some polka dot color shirt, whatever, you know.
Whatever you could find.
I could find. And up until that point, I never realized that wasn't normal until it then became I think the hardest part was when walking to the bus stop and knowing you're finna get picked on every day. You're the kid that nobody want to talk to. You're the kid that no one wants to sit with on the bus. You're the kid that when someone need a joke, they come make fun of you. And so and not to go too far into it, but you know, I went through the whole custody battle, you know, and then I went through the because originally my mom and dad were kind of like on the same page, you know. I see him when I can. My dad's like, okay, but then it started to become tension between them. Now I'm getting brainwashed by my dad to say I hate my mom. So, and I honestly didn't feel this way, but he would do it in front of people to a point that I don't want to, you know, you're torn as a child. I'm not going to distance you, but I don't want to say I hate my mom, but now I'm forced to say I hate my mom. And that's not how I felt. So that went on. So that's, yeah.
So just a lot of strife is what I'm hearing. A lot of strife. At 3 years old, that's intense. That's intense. So at what point, I know you realized, you were saying that you realized that your situation was not normal when you started going to school and seeing how the other kids lived. But how did the realization of the situation that you were in, how did that affect you moving forward? And how did it kind of build the drive to keep working and keep striving and continue to do better for yourself year after year?
Well, what happened was so I got to kind of go back just a little bit. So this went on for years, right? Like I went through the custody battles and stuff like that. And then, well, what happened with someone that have an alcohol problem, and all of a sudden now that person with addiction getting money from welfare, they're getting food stamps. So the one thing that I always say about money don't change, it just make you more of who you are. So at this point, my dad is now got friends coming to the house all the time. They're drinking all the time, but I wasn't eating. So what happened for me is one day I was so hungry. I literally, because at this point my mom was staying like sort of like up the road. And so I didn't have enough energy to walk. So I literally had to crawl through like this. Remember I said we stayed on like a tobacco farm thing. So I had to crawl through this field and I made it up to my mom's house. She was not there. I don't know where she was at, but the guy she was dating, it wasn't the same guy, but another guy she was dating at this time, excuse me. It was a neck bone in the pot. I go in, I eat it. That gave me enough energy to go rake some yards. Like I never forget, her name was Miss Cynthia. I raked the yard. She gave me 7. That was back in the old days, the food stamp books. That before the little cars. That's where they had the food stamp books. Yeah. So she gave me 7 of those. I went down I walked to the local store. I bought a peach Faygo soda and $1.69 cheeseburger. And they had the microwave in the store. So I can get a warm meal because I could put it in the microwave and eat it at the time. And I told myself, you know, I got to take care of myself. And it became early. And I think around this time I was like 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. The type of strength that it takes, like as a child, to say, you know what, no one's here, so I gotta be here. That's unreal.
Right.
And was that the first time you realized that it was in your power to make a change? Like, was that the moment, or did it take a while for you to get there?
No, that was the moment for me. And the reason why is because I've realized I can find a solution. So it's horrible that situation was. It taught me at that moment, even at that young age, there's a solution. You're gonna have to find it yourself. But if you work, you can make some money. So and that's been the core of who I am. Find a way to work. So after that, I became the guy who would, you know, I'm the guy the kid that's out there raking everybody yard. Well, no one understood it. Like, why are you doing this? That don't make sense. Hey, in my mind, I'm like, I gotta eat, you know. And it got to a point where I was at one point like pretty much taking care of my dad. Like I was make sure he ate. So I would go get food or stuff like that, or you know, bring him a burger or something from the store or whatever. So but it's also the reason why that was so important for me is it took away, it distracted me from what was really going on. And another moment that I had was so I had a friend in the neighborhood. His brother, who was somebody in the neighborhood, he was famous, and I won't say famous, but he was like, neighborhood popular guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say what he was doing, but
we know.
but I was just walking, and again, I'm like the outside kid, so nobody really talked to me. I was walking, and he pulls over beside me. He goes, "Hey, you wanna ride to the store? You want to ride to the store with bro? He's going to buy a video game for the PlayStation at this time." So I said, "Okay, cool." First of all, I'm excited. Nobody want me to go nowhere with them, so oh my god, I got a friend.
Yeah.
Right. So we go to the store. He go buy the video game. I want to say it was Madden or maybe Live. It was one of those early sports game. And on our way out, he holds up a wad of money, and he said, "Y'all little boys need to get you some of this. This is what your problem is." Now, in my mind, that gave me something to focus on. I'm like, okay, so if I keep finding ways to make money, I could be okay. I might be cool. It was just something to hold on to. So after that, I noticed every morning at like 5:00 in the morning, my friends, mom and grandmom, they all be on the back of a truck going somewhere. So I got curious, like, where are they going every morning? And it come to find out they were going to the bean fields to pick beans and peas and stuff like that. So I asked my dad, well, how can I do that? Can I do that? I was like, how much they make? He was like, well, they make, sometimes they make $3 a hamper, $3.50 a hamper. I was like, okay, can I do it? So of course he knows someone who does that. He's like, all right, I'll take you. So he shows me how to do it, and I'm out there. I'm just working. I don't know how good I am at it, but I'm giving it my best shot. So, of course, being young, he kept most of the money and gave me a couple dollars from it. But I wasn't even mad about that because I was like, "Ooh, I got an avenue to make money now." So, and a lot of people says, money is the root of all evil. I disagree, because I believe money was instrumental to my salvation. Because a normal person, if you don't find something to focus on and everything crazy around, you're not like your parents dealing with alcohol abuse, you don't know what to focus on. But it gave me something to just focus on every day. It gave me a reason to be excited to get out of school, because when I get out of school, I can rate some yards. I can, and then it started to grow. And I think, honestly, when I think about it, might have gave me my first kind of introduction into business, because at this point now I'm kind of being known a little bit, that the little kid that's out there raking yard.
The baby entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I actually started this. It was like this beauty salon. They see me and say, how much you charge? Blah, blah, blah. I ain't got no price. Whatever you give me. So it became every Tuesday I had go down and make sure her stuff was good. So, and that's kind of what morphed me into this guy that's got this work ethic now.
So how did that translate then into you joining the military? For our viewers who don't know, Chris is an Army veteran. And how long were you in the Army, Chris?
14 years.
And how did you transition into that? Like, what was your first introduction into the armed forces?
Well, so this was around high school. And in high school, like I said, I always had this worker's mentality. So I was working 2 jobs in high school. So I would work every day after school, and then on the weekends I would work at a hotel. So I was constantly working. And then it's like, all right, I'm about to graduate. It was like halfway through my senior year. And I met this recruiter, and I had an option, go to school, but he was like, well, if you go to the military, they'll pay for it for you. They'll pay for your schooling. Yeah, these recruiters. But yeah, so he was like, I was like, that's something to think about. And then it hit me. I was like, wait, I can go to school and make money at the same time. Okay. So I was like, sign me up. At this point, I go and I tell my mom, because at this point, we have it wasn't the best, but we had a better relationship. And I tell my mom, like, Mom, I'm thinking about going to the military. And because I literally graduated in May and I was gone in June. She had to literally sign for me because I was still 17. So I had my 18th birthday in basic training.
Wow.
Because for one, I knew I can't sit stagnant. Like, I don't want to sit and wait for college and sit around for half of a year. Figure I gotta go. I gotta keep it moving. And so I just went straight to the military, and it was life changing, and I think it helped me grow up. It introduced me into another phase of just life, people. you know, because all I knew was my little country town, you know, and so it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so
How
for the military.
Absolutely. And is that an avenue that you recommend for other young men and women that are, you know, maybe trying to find their own way as well?
Well, I would recommend, I would give you my experience. I would give you my pros and my cons and let you make your own decision. And one of the reason is because we all know what the ultimate sacrifice could be for the military. So I never tell someone to or not to. I just give you my experience and let you make a decision on your own.
So can we get into that a little bit? Can we talk about your experience, the pros, the cons, what helped you along your financial journey, what hurt you potentially? Basically, like how did the military influence Chris today in 2021?
Well, first of all, going to the military, you know, it was interesting from the fact of now I got a steady paycheck. You know, I got a steady paycheck that's coming in regardless if I work or not, like regardless of what's going on. Like literally I started in we call it was like 0 week in basic for like 2 weeks before we started training. I still got paid. You know, I'm coming from the mentality of if I ain't working, I ain't getting paid. So
yeah.
So I go into basic and I'm learning like why. I want to know why they're yelling so much. Why?
Why are you yelling so much?
Yelling so much? Why you woke up like this? You know, and remind you, I'm still the guy who was kind of shy a little bit. Like I didn't want to be. I wasn't outspoken or nothing like that because you know I always been a head down work type of guy. You know, I keep my head down and I just work, and that always been my thing. So as I went through, I'm now getting a steady paycheck, and this is the first time I realized money can change people around you, even if you ain't making the money they think you're making. Because in the military, people think you get paid way more than you actually get paid. Let me just say that right now. And so I actually lost people who I consider family because, you know, I wouldn't buy them something or give them something or stuff like that. And that was hard because I never looked at it like that, you know. Some of the main pros of the military is it taught me you get out of it what you put in. I had a sergeant major tell me one time, he said, get all you can out of the military because they're going to get all they can out of you.
Whew, if that ain't the truth. Yeah, I mean, look, I've never been a service member. I can't thank you, Chris, and any other service members that are watching here enough for the sacrifice that, you know, it takes to do something like this, because you're absolutely right. I mean, the ultimate sacrifice is potentially on the line. So it's a huge decision, but it sounds like it was the right one for you.
It was. Now, the one thing that I will say the military does, it take care of a lot of the stuff that you should take care of as an adult, though. Like in the military, you're going to go to the doctor. You got an appointment. They go tell you when you're going to go. You better be here by this time. So it's like, and I noticed that when I got out the military, it's like, oh, it ain't as easy as it was in the military when it comes to you. You know, if you don't go, you don't go. In the military, it's mandatory. You're going. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, did you get this shot or did you get that? Or, you know, did you get this physical? Did you get this checkup? No, it's done for you. And in the military, you got a problem. You go, you get your medicine, you go over there, you pick your medicine up. Ain't no prescriptions. Ain't none of that stuff. Ain't none of that. They put it in the computer. You go get it.
That's beautiful. They take care of you. And I mean, I'm sure that another big part of it has to be mentorship. How was that experience for you in the military? Were you able to find any mentors that you were able to learn from and kind of build your character as a man, but based on what they taught you?
Yeah. And I got to be honest, I got spoiled my first duty station because I had the best mentor you can have. My first duty station. And they say that's bad because you gonna hold everyone following that, because he was my NCO. So you're gonna follow whoever come behind, you're gonna think they're gonna be at his standard, but they're not. But he was a guy that, you know, everything was about being on time. Like I looked up him, like I came in with the mentality of who's the best. He is, I'm gonna be better than him. Kind of the mentality I had. And that's one of the first things I told him, and he held me to that standard. So everyone else got to be there 15 minutes. I got to be there 20 minutes prior. You know, if he say drop and give me 10, he look at me, I got to do 12. It's like whatever it was like, oh, we run this a 14-minute 2-mile. I got to come in at 13.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Like I'll give you an example of how, like, he was a really figured he won the strongest man on Fort Jackson competition. Like he was that type of, and so yeah, he would push me. And then it was like, oh, so that's all you just gonna get off from work and go. You're not gonna go work on your correspondent courses. Oh, you're not gonna get in college, huh? Oh, you just and he had no filter. Like, wow. Oh, okay, go ahead. You're just gonna be a bum. That's fine. Go ahead. Just go home. You wanna go play PlayStation, you bum.
What? So he was pushing you. That wouldn't work on me.
He was pushing me to a point of it was just like, but I achieved so much under him because I never want to let him down. You know, I never want to let I mean, even on your weekends when you go out and you have fun, and like he'll be in some of the same clubs or whatever. You know, I was in Germany at the time, so it ain't but so many. So and like he would just come over and stand next to me. What you doing? Yeah, you better be. But you know, like when I say it, he shaped me because he was the person. Like even though he wasn't the highest ranking person, he ran the battalion. He was that guy because whenever there was training, he was the one that did it. Whenever there was something that he was the one that did it. I was like, yo, he is literally the man. And I was like, if I can model that, it's sort of like Kobe did with Mike.
Yeah.
He's the best. I'm going to be the best. I don't want to be nobody else. I'm going to be the best. And so and he always told me, you know, like if you don't work, like what are you doing? Like if you ain't trying to be the best, then you're just trying to be the rest. And I take that approach whatever I do now.
It's a powerful lesson, absolutely. And kind of segueing into what this talk is mainly about. It's about breaking the cycles of generational poverty. We've heard your story. It's unreal. I venture to say that a lot of us who are here, sure, we grew up in less than ideal circumstances, but nothing like that. Like this is pretty intense stuff. Right. So in what way, or let me see how I can phrase this. What was the thing when you had your first child, your second child? You have 4 children right now, correct? So what's the one kind of takeaway? I guess it's not just one, but what's the takeaway that you get when you look at your children and you know you remember that 6-7-year-old little boy who said, "I will never be here again." How do you translate that into making sure that not only you'll never be there again, but your children will never be there again, and their children will never be there again, et cetera, et cetera? How do we translate the difficulties that we went through as children into our successes as adults?
Well, one is I always find it ironic that people don't want to have the money conversation. Like that's something that has to change. We need to stop this stigma that money is like this. Because growing up, no one taught me, you know, hey, here's a budget. Hey, here, when you get this money, you might want to put a little bit aside because something's going to happen. And it's okay to have I want my kids to have great goals. Like, don't tell yourself, well, you know, long as I'm able to pay the bill, that's a loser's mentality. As long as I pay the bills, what? That don't make sense to me. Have a big goal. Like if you know my kids have a financial goal and they're not a millionaire at least, like that should be like the bare minimum. If we talking pure financial numbers, like at least a millionaire. That's what other than that, what are you, you know, because you're settling. It's okay if you don't reach it. You better try your best to reach it. But it's okay to say that. It's okay to want it. Like you're not a bad person for wanting success. And we have to kill that notion. That don't make you you're not saying you're better than no one because you say I want to be successful. We only get one life. And our time, we don't know when it's over. And if 2020 taught us nothing else, it taught us that. Love the people close to you, tell the people you love, and go after your dreams. You know, when I got out in the military, that was one of I said, man, what do I want to do? I said, I really love sports. And you know, my wife kind of pushed me into starting a YouTube channel because I wasn't a camera person. Like that's just not me. She kind of pushed me into that. But you know, I said, all right, if I'm gonna do it, it got to be financially beneficial to me. You know, and so that's where the podcast and the YouTube channel and stuff like that. But then I still, even now, I have conversations. I have conversation with my 10-year-old. You know, hey, you are a man in this world. You're a provider. You're gonna have to understand. You're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to set goals. Start by creating little small goals young. and just get used to achieving. I never want my kids to feel uncomfortable talking about money. Talk about it. It's okay. Like it's this mythical thing that only certain people can have. It's not. It's abundance. We got to have an abundance mindset. There's so much out here. Because one person actually get it, don't mean you can't get it. It's a lot out here. And I just try to keep pushing that in my kids' head. Like, go for it. What are your goals? And it don't just have to be financially, but whatever you do, be happy. If you work at, listen, if you work at, let's say, I don't know, if you're a janitor at a school, but that's what brings you pure happiness, and you lay down in bed at night and you're happy, then that's what life is about. That's what life is about. Like, everyone got this, there's no rules. Like, life don't come with a rule book. Parenting don't come with a rule book. Yeah, as adults, we got laws we got to follow. I get that. At the same time, some people feel as though, society say I must have this, or I must be this way, or I must feel this way, or I must align myself this way. No, this is your life. This is your life. I got this rule, and it's probably not a good one, but I don't take a lot of advice from people, because if I fall on my face, I don't want to be able to blame nobody else. The minute someone say, hey, you should do this, and do that, and I tried and it don't work, then I got to blame you. I got to blame you now, because I tried. If I go my way and it works or don't work, I can fix Chris. That's what my thing about no excuses. Everything is my fault. Everything is my fault, because I can fix myself.
So let's get into that, actually, because you're saying no excuses. I've heard it said radical responsibility. I've heard it both ways, but they both mean the same thing. It means, and I'm gonna, if you can define it for me, I'm really interested in hearing your definition. But my definition is, whatever happens in your life is under your control. Of course, there are situations that come, whether it's sickness, whether it's an accident, whatever the case may be, but how that manifests itself within the next year, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years is 100% up to you. And you cannot blame anyone for the way that you choose to react to the situations that life throws at you. So you're saying that mentality actually helped you become financially free, just taking that responsibility for everything that happens in your life.
Right. And the main thing is, if I give it, like I was saying, if I give it to someone else, I can't fix you. I can't. But if I say it's all my fault, no matter what, from the outside looking in, you may say, well, that ain't really your fault. It don't matter. It's my fault, because if I could take a situation, something that happened to me negative, and let's say I make a bad business deal, right? And I make let's say I buy the property, it don't turn out great cash flow, I'm not making the right amount of money on it. I could say, well, the realtor should have pointed this out to me. The mortgage company should have known my debt to income ratio. I could, all those excuses are out there. The ultimate fault is mine, because I can fix me. That put me, when you make an excuse, your brain stop working. You stop. When you say, okay, it's my fault, I got to find a solution. Now your brain gets to work. It's like you get into that mode now. It's like, I got to do something. One action requires you to take some action. I mean, one thought process requires you to take some action. The other one don't. Yeah. It's simple. You want to constantly be in control so you can take action and fix the situation. Because if you don't, then you're gonna live a life of woe is me. I come from a woe is me situation. To this day, I come from that. I've seen people who to this day blame, if I don't get I never, and I hope this don't come off wrong, but I never want to be in a situation where I'm waiting on a check every month. Oh my God, I never want to be in that. I tell myself, I don't think I ever retire in life. I don't want to retire. Retirement scares me, actually. I love to work. Like, if I retire and I'm just sitting, like, what's next? That don't scare people.
Yeah, no, I understand. But look, going back to your point just a second ago about being in a situation where you just have to wait for a check, like it's so scary to look around. Like, it hurts your heart to see these people just waiting and waiting just for these $1,400, like, and it's going to make a huge difference for a lot of people. But the problem is that if you're waiting for someone else, and in this case, Congress, who's not known for doing a lot, if you're in a situation where you feel like, man, I have to rely on somebody else or I'm going to go under, That's the scariest thing in the world to me. To me, that's much scarier than being the type of person that says, you know what, this is my fault. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do Uber. I'm going to do Lyft. I'm going to wear my mask. I'm going to deliver food. I'm going to, you know, watch kids when they have to do their homeschooling or whatever the case may be. That is far less scary to me.
Yeah, exactly. Because one is proactive, one is just reactive. You know, and in life, you gotta be proactive. You gotta go for it. You know, like you were saying about the chat, I'm quite sure they're gonna help people. But look at the time, and even look that. And I don't want to. I please, I don't want to come off negative. But what is $1,400 gonna do? What is it really gonna do?
I'm sure it can help people.
It can
the
help.
problem is that
unless you got a 1 month problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it can help you for now. What happens tomorrow?
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, I never want to be in a situation where, like, I see, and I love my parents, but they're in that situation where it's like, oh, I'm just waiting for the first to come so I get my Social Security, or I'm just waiting to get my disability, and then I get a phone call, they dropped my check, it didn't even tell me. It's like, yeah, they got control of that. Control what you can control. There's people, and I'm not knocking those programs because they're definitely beneficial for the people that need them. I'm not knocking them, but I just always, like, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Absolutely.
Planning to fail. Failure to plan is planning to fail.
Yes.
So my retirement, which I don't think I ever retire, but I guess right off into the sunset, is already been planned. That's part. Now, I've started that in my 20s. You know, so if I get to a point where I'm not able to work, I'm planning that now. I know my financial number at a point where I no longer have to work, period. Like, I know that number. And that's an important number to know, in my opinion.
It is, because if you don't, I mean, what are you really working towards, right? You're working every day and saving and putting into your IRA and your 401k or whatever it is that you're working towards to retire. But you're kind of, feeling around in the dark, not really knowing how close you are, how far you are, if you need to go harder, if you could maybe take a year off. Who knows? Maybe you're ahead of the goal, maybe you're behind it. But if you haven't planned, chances are you're behind it. Exactly. So I think that's a really, really great thing, to just have your goals set out before you even start moving. I think that's wonderful. Right. And if you don't mind, I want to backtrack just a little bit, because we sort of touched very briefly on the idea of government's assistance. And I also want to reiterate your point. In no way am I knocking these programs at all. These are things that help people. These are things that people need. However, and I think that it's possible you may agree with me on this, not everyone needs it. There are some people who have gotten used to it. There are some people who feel like they can't get out of it, but who absolutely can. What's your advice to those people?
For one, honestly, you got to break that mindset. Because I come from was generations of it. It's generation after generation of that, and we got to stop normalizing it. First of all, it's meant to be a temporary solution until you can get yourself back going. When you start to feel as though, well, this is just my income now. No, it's not. It's not. You hoping that the next politician that gets office agree with that program and don't decide to cut it. I've watched so many people finances and life change just because this program was cut or that program was cut. You don't even have control over your own life at that point. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm trying to choose my word wisely, because I don't want to sound like I'm bashing these programs. They are meant for temporary assistance, but that's temporary assistance.
Yeah, because the thing is, they say knowledge is power, and I agree with that. But I also agree with, it's pretty obvious. In this country, money is power. And if you have none and the government has all of your money, guess what they have? All of your power. You can't tell them anything, right? So you turn around and you see like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or all these people who have such a massive amount of influence in legislature. Why? It's not because they're poor, and we can talk about whether or not that's a good thing, but it doesn't matter, because it's what's happening. So we have to kind of.
I'm glad you said that. We got to realize that, just like you said, it don't matter. See, and now this I'm saying this go a little way. We all in this world, and especially in the United States, we think that it's pro-white or pro-black. The answer is pro-green.
Mm.
It's
Oh,
pro-green.
that's the one. That's the one.
You don't realize that. You don't realize that. I don't know. Like, you've been following the GameStop thing that's going on right now.
I have. Yes. I won't comment.
Yeah, quickly to shut that down. How they tried to shut that down. They didn't care if you was white or black. You were taking money out of people's pocket.
Right.
And when we realized the fact that it's not pro-black or pro-white, and I'm not, you know, I want everybody. I've been in the military. I have no racial bone in my body, right? But I just think that a lot of time we get so caught up in these two that we miss the fact that it is pro-green.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. You if you got money, I don't care what your color is. You can walk in any building and get a phone call with anybody if you got the right amount of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you have none, and if the government, you know, is feeding you and is feeding your children and is feeding your grandchildren and your great grandchildren, we're building here a family line of people who have given up their power. And I'm not saying there are people who need it, but I believe in us more than to think that 6 generations of us need it. I don't believe that to be the fact. I think that we can bring it.
I'll say it for you. It's not the fact. No 6 generations of, because the thing about it is, what we got to do is be comfortable being uncomfortable. Mm. And that's what that'll push you a lot further, right? Yeah, you got to understand that. Okay, you know, it might not be cool right now to not have the coolest thing on or be a part of the in crowd. You can sacrifice that to build something. It's not hard. It's not hard to take $100 a month, put into an investment account over years, and build you a great nest egg. Now that's gonna take you a while, but it's still gonna put you that'll change your generation. That'll change your family right there. Just $100 a month. Put $100 a month invest over consecutive years will change your family dynamic right there. You know,
and possibly for much longer than we even realize, you know,
exactly.
Because, you know, like if you think about how the people in power today, barring, you know, people who have invented fantastic things, you know, and people who have gotten rich off the internet and things like that. If you think about the generational wealth in this country, it comes from a long time ago. It comes from the railroads. It comes from the oil fields. It comes from these things that people established. I've always said that I'm a pioneer, right? I'm the guy with the hat and the pickaxe and getting the gold from the river. Like that's me because I'm first generation.
Right.
I'm not even first generation. I was born outside of the country. So my children will be first generation.
Right.
So to me, I feel like I can't really compare myself to Victoria Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Like her family's been here for like 29 generations. Like, what am I can't on different paths. We're on different journeys. And there's nothing unfair about that because her grandparents worked very hard for what she gets to enjoy today. And that's not a sin, you guys. That's what we want.
We got to learn to celebrate people's success. We got to. You know, one of the first things I did was congratulate you on this. That's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Congratulate people that are doing big thing. This is the thing. You cannot become what you hate. You can't hate rich people and say, I want to become rich. You cannot become what you hate.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that from this, and also understand the fact that, you know, if someone else make it, stop being mad at them for making it, but understand how did they make it. You know, regardless, it's someone that look like you that made it. You know?
100%. Yeah. And it's not, and it didn't start today. Like there have been people that came from, I mean, you know, we were talking about your background. It's intense to get out from something like that. I feel like a lot of us never had to, we've all, you know, gone through struggles. We all grew up in a situation, well, not all of us, but you and I grew up in a situation where it wasn't ideal.
Right.
But so did their grandparents. It's you know, they went through those same things too. At some point, we all have to go through it, you know? So from my perspective, I'm just like, are my children going to have to go through it? Not on my watch. No, sir. And furthermore, if anyone has the opinion that my children are now evil because they didn't have to work for what I'm working for, I'm going to disagree with that opinion because I'm still here. I'm still working.
Offended, because I always wonder, where did this notion come from? Well, I struggle. My kids got to go through it too. It make them tougher. No. All you doing is setting them back, and now they got to start from zero like you started. No, that's not okay. I was having a conversation at work one time, and I was like, I'm trying to make sure my kids' college are paid for, so they don't have to start behind 4 or 5 years because they got to pay off student debt before they can even start to really build a life. And I was having that conversation, and I literally got pushback from people saying, nah, they better go fill out them FAFSA forms. I didn't laugh. I didn't think that was funny. I don't think that's funny. Why? Why is that okay? It's like we celebrate being broke.
Yeah.
It's like it's okay to have to fight. How about one of us fight? Let me do the fight. You come, I'm building it. You build on top of it. Then you come and you build your grandkids. My grandkids come and build on top of it. That's how it starts. It's like you said, most wealth is generational. They come and they build on top of, they great grandfather laid the foundation, their grandfathers, and you just keep building on top of it. But you got to honor that and understand that that's your path. Now it might not be the same way, but at the same time, making sure that you understand the fact that, all right, dad or grandma, or granddad, whoever, set a standard. This my name means something. And that's the biggest thing. Once you get your family to realize your name means something. When you hear certain names, you stirring up a little bit because you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's a powerful family right there. And if we can learn to build that, and your name means something, and you hold it to a standard, whoever comes, your kids gotta go. Like I'm working on right now creating a family crest. Like I want to create a little family crest that I pass down from generation to generation. And I want my kids to have this crest. And every time they have this crest, understand you represent something, you stand for something, and you got certain level of expectations on you. And I want them to pass that down to their kids. And I want them to pass it down to their kids. That way, it's a reminder that stand for something, stand up, build up. I'm not, and sometimes people, I feel like people mistake professionalism for, oh God, I gotta be boring now. Like people feel as though, so I gotta be so serious, I can't enjoy my life. Nobody said you got to lock yourself in a closet. You can have fun. You can go out with your friends. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that, you still, as you do those things, just remember your goal is bigger than you. If you're only doing it for yourself, it's never gonna be enough. I can't just do this for me. Because if I'm just doing it for me and I don't feel like doing it, that's fine. But if I'm doing it for my kids, I can't take that break. I can't just relax. So sorry to run on a little bit there, but
no, please. That was excellent. Thank you for sharing that. That was fantastic. So we are, I think, pretty much wrapping up here. But if there's one thing that you could leave everyone with today, to keep themselves focused on what the goal is, right? Like if there's one thing that people can continuously bring back into their minds, like what would that be?
It's two things. Work ethic. Work ethic is everything. Don't be there just to be there. Whatever you do, that don't matter what you do. Go to be the best at it. There's nothing wrong with that. Work hard. If you're a teenager and you're working at McDonald's, and because it's just a stepping stone, but you go to be the best at McDonald's. Work ethic. Don't be a clock watcher. I cannot stand a clock watcher. Nope. I can't work at 9. I'm just waiting for 5 to get here, trying to kill some time. You're cheating yourself. You're cheating the company. You don't deserve that paycheck. You're taking a smoke break every 30 minutes. No. Work, because that's all you can control. And no excuses. No excuses, because let me tell you, nobody cares about your excuses. Yeah, the market definitely don't care about your excuses. Success definitely don't care about your excuses. No one care about your excuses. That you're just a talk for the next 5 minutes. They want to hear because they're not caring about your excuse. They just want to be nosy, want some entertainment. Oh, okay, that happened. Yeah, okay. Now they back their life, and your excuse is no longer valid. No excuses. Put in the work. Hard work pays off.
I don't even think we care about our own excuses. I'll be honest with you. I think our excuses are there to give us a way to not have to face our fears,
Mm-hmm.
to not have to face our potential failures, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that everything we do is a potential failure. And if we're going to constantly be relying on excuses, like, it's so crazy. I remember, I went on a weight loss journey 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost somewhere around, like, I think it was at the end, probably about 67 pounds. It was very difficult. It was really hard. But it was the only time that it ever worked, because I tried before and it never worked.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it never worked is because I already had my excuses ready to go. Well, I can't go to the gym because, like, I don't know. And then, maybe I'm just a little afraid of the machines, or, I don't have enough money to cook. I have to eat out today. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. What are you saying?
Right.
That's more expensive. What are you talking about? But I had all of these excuses already ready to go. And I didn't care about those excuses. If I'm being honest, I didn't care that those machines were scary. Mm-hmm. When it was time for me to get serious, I did not care that those machines were scary. You know what I would do? I would sit on the machine so that nobody could take it. Mm-hmm. And I would open YouTube and I would be like, how do I use this machine? And I would watch the videos sitting there on that machine, and I would learn how to do it, because there is always a way forward. But if we're constantly focused on those excuses, we will never find it. We'll just continuously keep finding excuses that are completely invalid.
The scariest thing, and one of the most dangerous thing about excuses, is you can always find a way to validate your excuse. Mm. That's what's scary. If I say, oh, I can't eat healthy because salads are dangerous, I can find somewhere where they say someone got sick from eating a salad.
Yeah.
So you can always find a reason for an excuse.
And you can take that and run with it as far as you want to. And that's the thing. How far do you want to run? At what point do you stop running? At what point do you face the man or woman in the mirror and say, all of this is under your control and you need to fix it?
Exactly.
And until that happens, there's not going to be a change.
Exactly. And your why have to be bigger than you. Your why have to be bigger than you. It's for your family, your name, the next generation. Because we got to understand, we just stewards for the next generation. We have a responsibility, and I don't think we understand that. We have a responsibility to our kids. We have a responsibility to understand this climate control thing. We have a responsibility to understand how to make this earth safer or whatever for our kids. We have that. That's our responsibility. It's not something that we just thinking, oh, let's go away one day. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, whatever. Like, no, we have a responsibility, and we got to, and it's no excuse. There's no excuse. I know I want my kids to have a great earth. I'm gonna do my part. Whatever. Yeah. So
whatever we need to do. Well, Chris, this has been fantastic. I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this and for sharing your wisdom with us. This is just great. If there's anywhere that people want to find you, where can they go?
All right. So of course, YouTube, Chris Sports Corner. I'm also Chris Sports Corner on Instagram, and then Facebook is just Christopher Williams.
Well, thank you so much again, Christopher. I hope everyone enjoyed that and that you learned a lot, and we'll see you at the next talk. All Bye.
Right. Bye.